there's the music part of the video. It's the only way I'm getting past the censors with this. I hope. We'll see what happens. Friday I tried to post a video after I was terminated and it hasn't cleared. I made this, the last one that you see this morning, not really knowing what was going to happen with it. So I'm battling all kinds of different forces here. Post New York City DEP, conspiracy, and all the tag words, I guess, is red light for YouTube, who obviously doesn't want to see the government be exposed for anything. I was terminated by the commissioner of New York City DEP. A letter that was handed to me against the findings of a oath judge who works for New York City DEP and chosen by the commissioner, which it says in a letter that I have. I don't know how to scan them and post them and all of that stuff. If somebody's around to give me a hand in doing that, I'll accept that help for sure. I'm not computer literate by any means. I can figure out the YouTube and all of that. I'm sorry if this is frustrating everybody, but I could say more because now I'm fired. But there still is criminal charges pending, which are kind of, the charges themselves are tough to swallow. My lawyer told me that even in the charge, there's nothing even remotely close to coercion or the attempt of coercion, which I was charged with. It was a felony count at first. This is well over a year ago. It's been reduced. There's been a motion to dismiss with Sandover hearing and Brady hearing, looking for Brady material. It's a lot of legal lawyer stuff. Let's see a video I posted as a response. As an assistant commissioner, he's bound to give me a report on my calls to employee health and safety. The report is, to say the least, inadequate, if not incompetent. I'm going to find out from the lawyer if I could post that, and hopefully I'll learn how to scan stuff and put it up so you guys can see it. The judge's findings now, this New York City has just posted on, well, I found it on Google, the whole court thing from the judge. I'm going to put that in the notes if it works out. I forgot to before I set this up, but I'll edit it and I'll add it later. If it's not there, I didn't figure it out. So 11 years ago, in case you're new on watching my videos, 11 years ago I had testified in Mercury cover-up hearing. I was told by a federal agent that I was a key witness in that case, and that led to the rehabilitation of the sluice gate systems, I'm believing. I've seen them all being ripped out and replaced. They have mercury seals in them. And they're not there now. So it's been a long road. I was transferred 14 or 15 times. Once the Port Jervis, which was 90 miles away from around 90 miles away from my home shop, 60 miles away from my house, they thought they had me and they were gonna break me financially with this gas bill, and this was very soon after the gas went to $3 a gallon and up since then. I'm sure you all know. They had me up there, and the only thing I could think of was to buy a house in that small town of Port Jervis. Houses are really cheap up there, and there was one for $80,000. I put a full offer of $50,000 on. This would make my $400 a week commute, $400 gas bill in commute a week, and that would turn it into a $300 a month mortgage with no money down. And I would have lived in the basement and rented out the top, and they would eventually turn me into a land baron. If they kept transferring me, because that was the closest of all the places that they could think of. And the farther you get away from New York City, obviously the cheaper the housing is, and therefore wherever they transferred me to, I'd buy another house, and from the house before I'd have more income from that rental, and so on and so forth. So, and I told the supervisor about that one day, and I guess that kind of foiled their plans. Another day, a supervisor showed up with alcohol on his breath. I called 911 and reported it. And this was soon after that. And I reported that to the state police. The state police had forwarded that to the local police in the town of Port Jervis and the big city of New York. In the town of Port Jervis, and it's bigger government protects government, and I heard nothing about this superior, and I knew I smelt it on him. It's unmistakable. It was no rubbing alcohol, it was no denatured alcohol. Nothing happened. Okay. It's been admitted in reports, numerous reports and letters to me that I have in black and white from superiors and supervisors that I was threatened with physical violence. And I had left the job, and I was okay in doing that. Nobody was arrested. No, nobody was arrested for actually threatening physical violence. There was a letter of apology offered to me. The guy who did that was in a rough spot with a divorce. You know, meanwhile everybody knows this guy doesn't like me, but I never had a reason not to like him. I know he had to be the way he was to follow along with the crowd, so he wouldn't be treated like me too. And that's the bad part about being discriminated against and retaliated against. If you don't go along with the mob rules, you're then defending yourself. You're then the retaliated against, the discriminated against. Retaliation is a form of discrimination, and it is a cancer that just keeps growing. It's unstoppable. So anyway, that's just a little part of it. Now, for me being arrested due to a threat, I was accused of attempted coercion. That is instilling a fear that makes somebody do something different than they would in their office of a public servant or something like that. And you can Google it. It's attempted coercion. It was a felony, and now it is not. It's a misdemeanor. The guy admitted under oath, and my lawyer has the transcript that says he was never in fear. Number one. Number two, he couldn't have been my supervisor. He wasn't titled high enough. I made more than the guy, and that, I don't know if that makes a difference, the pay scale or whatever, but at that time I made more than that guy's boss, you know. So